Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are here to talk about some brand new products from the Beauty Bakerie. So if that is something you're interested in watching, you're in the right place. We're about to get into it.
I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf.
The Beauty Bakerie. For those of you that have been around on this channel for quite a long time, the Beauty Bakerie is like an OG brand that we have talked about on this channel a long time ago. Well, they are back with some new products, and I thought it would be a lot of fun to sit down and talk about the products today. We have a foundation, we have a new setting spray, and we also have a brand new concealer. So we are going to talk about all three of those products today. Let's go ahead and start with the foundation. Now, the foundation is called the Insta Aqua Glass Foundation. Of course, as always with the Beauty Bakerie, the packaging is just, they kill it every time. It's the cutest thing ever. You open the box, there's like a little spatula here, you know, to go with the whole theme. I think it's just absolutely precious. So the packaging is a win. It has this little magnetic closure right here, which I think is just so cute. And of course, they have the quote unquote nutritional facts on the side. I just think their packaging is always so stunning. Now, the actual bottle itself just looks like this. It is just a regular pump where you just press down and the product itself comes out of the little nozzle on the top. But I'll give you guys a close-up of it here. Now, they say that the Insta Aqua Glass Foundation was inspired by the elegance and minimalistic approach to beauty that Japan is known for. So this is a Japanese-inspired formula. It's a lightweight vegan foundation, and they claim it's going to give you full coverage and that it's going to be able to literally cover everything. In addition to being very lightweight, it's supposed to really be kind of all about the performance. Really lightweight, blend out and feel like skin, but yet be incredibly full coverage so that it's going to really cover everything. Now, of course, they have baking tips on the little panel right here. And, you know, we reviewed their foundation on this channel previously, the first foundation they came out with, and a lot of people really gave that foundation a hard time. And I was going to initially in a review that I had for it because it wasn't playing nice on my skin either until I actually read the baking tips. And once I followed the baking tips, the foundation actually performed great because it was a foundation that was such a quick setter. It set so quickly on the skin, but it lasted like a ridiculous amount of time on the skin. Great for brides, anybody that wants a foundation that's not going to go anywhere. But there are a couple of things that you need to know when you're working with that foundation. Your skin has to really be hydrated before applying that foundation. Number one. Number two, the best way to apply that foundation is to work in sections at a time because it has such a quick dry down. There are a lot of different steps involved in really getting that foundation to perform at its top peak best. But a lot of people didn't take the time to read how that formula was actually supposed to apply, and the result was they just got, you know, really poor performance out of the formula. So this time I was really paying attention to the baking tips when it came to this particular foundation because of the name of the formula. It's called the Insta Aqua Glass Foundation. So to me, I thought, whereas the first foundation release that the Beauty Bakerie had was more of it was a it really was good to help control oil. It's going to be better for people that had really oily skin. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to people that had dry skin or normal to dry skin. It might have been a little too drying for those people, but great for people with oily skin. I thought this one was going to be like the hydrating formula. So I thought, okay, yay, this will be the hydrating version of that formula. We get a great glowy hydrating formula from the Beauty Bakerie. So I was excited because that's what I thought it was. Unfortunately, this foundation is not that. So before we get into how it performs and all of that good stuff, let's just go ahead and talk about application and the way that they say you should apply this. And while I'm going over that with you, I will actually show you my application process here. So they do say you need to prep your skin. So if you're dry, to make sure that you really, really hydrate. So again, the recommendation is to really hydrate the skin, and that is because it is a more drying formula or a more quote unquote oil control formula. So if you are a girl that's a little bit more on the oily side or even a little bit more combination, then this is going to be a great foundation for you. If you have dry skin and you still want to try this foundation, just make sure that you hydrate. And I would recommend the Wake and Bake oil from the Beauty Bakerie. It's a beautiful oil and it's really good for your face. You can also use the Glow Ahead oil from Wonder Beauty. Just really, really hydrate this skin, and I again personally would recommend that you use a face oil for the hydration. And then you can use a sponge or you can use a brush to blend the foundation in. I personally really like going in with a brush with this particular foundation and then pouncing over that with a beauty blender just to get a nice finish at the end. So overall, application goes okay. Now I will say this is not as quick drying as that first foundation was that they brought to market. So this one actually gives you a little bit of playtime. You can do like, you know, this half of your face and then this half of your face and not really worry about it setting down so quickly. It is a lot thinner in consistency than the original formula. So it is a little bit thinner, a little bit lighter. It is a lighter weight formula. It does set down, and for the most part, it is long wearing. I felt like I got a good 8 hours out of this formula before I really started to see it breaking down. And when it broke down, it didn't splotch up on me. It just kind of very gracefully faded away. So around my nose, kind of here in the center of my head, my chin, the places that typically always fade away first, were the places that started to fade away on me. Now, I did not use primer underneath this when I first did the wear test and clocked the 8-hour time before things started to break down a little bit. So you could probably get a good 10 or 12 hours out of this if you used a primer underneath it and, you know, some setting spray and some other things, but just the foundation on its own, good for a solid 8 hours. Now, as far as the finish is concerned, it is a very high shine finish. It's not necessarily like overly radiant, but you do get a glow to the skin when you apply this foundation. So if you like a foundation that gives you a little bit of a glow, then you're definitely going to like this foundation, but don't mistake that for this foundation being hydrating, because it's not. It is a more drying foundation, and because of that, there were a couple of places throughout the day that were trouble spots for me personally. So smile lines cracked a little bit, and that's because I am really dry right here. I do tend to stay really dry, like here in my smile lines, also kind of out here stays really dry on me, and any place where my skin was dry, the foundation was cracking a little bit throughout the day. And I just need to hydrate a little bit more and it would probably be fine. I did find that that was kind of a consistent issue, however. So this foundation for me personally is just a little too drying. And that is not what I thought I would be saying about this foundation. I thought this was going to be a really nice hydrating foundation, but I think I was a little confused about what this foundation actually is. This is going to be a very lightweight, very full coverage, beautiful foundation for my oily girls or my combination to oily girls. This is going to be a nice foundation for you. Again, if you are on the drier side, there's just a lot of other foundations out there that really would nourish the skin. But if you are on the dry side and you want to use this, just make sure that you really hydrate the skin. Even if you're a combination, I would still really hydrate the skin. As far as ingredients are concerned, I was also just a little let down when it came to the ingredients list. While it is a vegan formula and there is no overwhelming fragrance or anything super annoying like that, there is alcohol in the formulation. In addition to that, there is a lot of dimethicone. So other than that, though, the formula is pretty basic. Like, there's not any really good for you ingredients in here. There's nothing in here that's really going to be a great source of hydration for the skin, which is what I really wish was in this particular foundation. There is things in here that are going to help blur out your pores, give you kind of that full coverage look. There is a lot of mica, silica in here, those emollients that really give you that spreadability. Those are in the formula, along with a lot of dimethicone in here as well. But other than that, there's really not anything in here. You have some basic antioxidants in here, and that is really it, you guys. It is just a pretty basic foundation that is a little bit more on the dry side. So for me personally, I'm kind of on the fence with this one because I feel like if you are an oily girl and you have a really hard time controlling oil throughout the course of the day, you might actually really like this foundation because of the oil controlling properties of it, because it is a little bit of a drier formula. For that reason, that's really the only reason why I'm holding out on just saying pass on this one altogether, because I do feel like this would be really beneficial for my oily girls out there. But if you're not an oily girl, I would say there's just other foundations out there that would be beneficial with more good for you ingredients in it. It is full coverage. It does a really good job at, like, you know, covering up blemishes. So if you're looking to layer it up and just kind of get a really full coverage beat out of it, it does an amazing job at that. I actually have it on tonight. I always wear it so that you guys can kind of see what it looks like on, and it does look beautiful when you first put it on, but again, for me, I'll get a little bit of cracking here and here just in my dry areas, and it's just a little too drying for me. But that's my personal opinion. That's my breakdown on it. I am just a little disappointed in it because, again, I thought this was going to be like my hydrating foundation from the Beauty Bakerie, and it's just not that. So they do have a beautiful shade range as always. The foundation itself does retail for $34, and Ulta now carries the Beauty Bakerie. So not only can you get this foundation online at the Beauty Bakerie, but you can also get Beauty Bakerie in Ulta now, which is actually really, really cool. So that is my breakdown on the Instabake foundation. A little bit of a disappointment, but you know, not all of them can be winners. So let's roll on to the concealer. All right, so the concealer is called the Instabake 3-in-1 full coverage concealer, and of course it comes in this cute component that has these little holographic beveling going on here all around the packaging, which just makes it super, super cute. And then of course the concealer itself looks like this. I'll give you guys a close-up of the component here. One thing I do love about these components is, you know, it's not just a silver cap. It's got this holographic look to it, but the actual applicator itself is this really unique applicator. It's like a triangle, but it has kind of this soft tip at the top. It's flocked, so it's very soft, but it has this unique kind of pointed tip, which I actually really like for a couple of reasons. So the reason they call this a 3-in-1 concealer is they say that you can smooth with this, so smooth the under eye area out, that you can conceal with this, obviously, and that you can contour with this as well. So you can get some darker shades if you want and use it to contour the skin. They say using this as a concealer underneath the eyes will smooth out that under eye area. And then of course, because it is full coverage, you can blank out any kind of discoloration, or you can use the tip, which is why I really like the tip, and use it to just dot areas on the face that have like blemishes, that kind of stuff that you want to just kind of get rid of any discoloration. So that's the 3-in-1 claims from the concealer itself. Now this, unlike the foundation, did claim to have hydrating properties. So I was really excited that this was going to be a hydrating concealer. However, it's a little bit different. So there is an active ingredient in the concealer that is derived from cassava, and it's supposed to have strong water binding properties. The under eye area will be smoothed out, and it's supposed to be very soothing, and it's supposed to keep the under eye area hydrated. However, I have found that it's just not as effective as having something, you know, really infused with a lot of hyaluronic acid, a lot of glycerin, and those type of hydrating ingredients that we've all come to know and love in our hydrating formulations. This is definitely a different type of hydrating ingredient, and by using this and wearing it a lot, what I've noticed is my under eye area has a tendency to be good first thing in the morning when I put on my under eye cream and then I put my concealer on. And if I don't have a hydrating concealer on underneath my eyes, as the day progresses, my under eye area will inevitably get drier as the day progresses. And, you know, you're kind of stuck in a bind because you don't want to put more concealer on underneath the eyes when your eyes are very dry, because that emphasizes everything. But you also can't just pull out your under eye cream in the middle of the day and smear it on and ruin all of your makeup. So you're kind of stuck with dry eyes like halfway through the day, unless you have a really good hydrating under eye concealer. That's always been my solution to under eye dryness. Now, what I have found that this does, while it doesn't provide me with a huge amount of hydration under the eyes, what it does do is it offsets that dryness that I get underneath my eyes later on in the day. It kind of pushes that back a little bit. So I can hydrate underneath my eyes like I always do with a really good under eye cream. I can put this concealer on underneath my eyes. And then usually around that 2-3 o'clock time, for me, I've had it on for like 5-6 hours. By then, my under eye area will start to get dry. With this, I really didn't notice my under eye area getting dry until the end of the day, which is really nice for me. Now, towards the end of the day, when you're rolling up on that, 9-10 hour mark of having this concealer on, then I can really start to feel that dryness coming back underneath the eyes. So it's not that I don't think it really is providing hydration, but what I think it is doing is that it's retaining the hydration that you have put on at the beginning of the day. And it's allowing that hydration to stay right there underneath the eyes, which I think is this cassava active ingredient that says that it has like water binding properties to it. So somehow it's binding that hydration underneath the eyes, and it does a decent job. I think I still wouldn't necessarily lean into this for my hydration, however, like I can with the Jouer concealer. When I wear this, I'm still going to want to hydrate underneath the eye with like an eye cream or some other external form of hydration. But I can depend on this to maintain that hydration and to keep whatever it is that I used underneath the eye and keep my eye hydrated throughout the course of the day. It does a great job at that. And not only that, but one of the huge selling points for me about this concealer is how incredibly full coverage it is. And I'm going to show you guys the application process here. And typically when I show you guys my application process with concealer, you're looking at my face that already has a color corrector underneath it, because I have really bad dark circles. So I usually have a color corrector on, and then we start, the concealer application. But here, as you guys will see, I don't have any color corrector on underneath my eyes. All I have is a small amount of this concealer, and it completely brightens and blanks out that under eye area like nobody's business. So I'll show you guys the application process here. So again, they say that it's fortified with an active ingredient derived from the cassava that has strong water binding properties. The under eye area is going to stay smooth, soothed, and hydrated. Now, they say that this is a full coverage, that it applies and blends effortlessly, and I would agree with that. They do say that it leaves a nice kind of satin finish behind that's a little bit more towards matte, but not like that real flat matte, but it is more of like, it's kind of like a blend between a satin and a matte. It's more of like a natural matte finish. It is perfect to hide dark circles, regardless of how dark they are. It does an amazing job at hiding dark circles. And I also have a shade that is very skin toned, and it does a great job at hiding blemishes and discoloration as well. So the concealer itself retails for $20. You do get 4 mils of product, so don't let the small size fool you. It is a decent amount of concealer in here, and considering that you don't really have to use a whole lot to get a huge amount of coverage out of this concealer, I think that this one was a home run. So I actually really like this concealer. It's very different. It's very unique. I really like it, and I really enjoyed it for brightening. So like down the bridge of the nose, here on my chin, I love using this to highlight areas of the face that you want to brighten. I think it does an amazing job at that as well. So overall for me, the Instabake 3-in-1 concealer was definitely a product that I will be reaching for to use again, probably on days or nights where I want like a full beat, because this is not like a run to the grocery store type of concealer, because it's so full coverage. This is definitely going to be for those nights where you just want to blank out everything and have a full coverage beat on the face. Then this is definitely going to be the concealer for you. I even like the applicator. I think the applicator is very innovative and unique. I think it's incredibly convenient, especially when it comes to more precise application, whether it's, down the bridge of the nose and brightening, or dotting on blemishes, or getting, like really in here and getting close to the under eye area. I just really like this applicator. I really enjoyed using it. So this was a hit for me. The Instabake 3-in-1 full coverage hydrating concealer is absolutely Erica approved. And last but not least is the Sweet Grace baking spray. And of course, the Beauty Bakerie is going to come out with a setting spray that looks like Pam in a bottle, but I think that is, of course, what we would expect, and it's just absolutely too cute. I'll show you guys the component up close here. It's just precious. It has a little prayer on the front that says, "Now I lay my brush to beat. I pray this sleigh is one to keep. I put my trust in you, Grace, to help me keep my cake face." And that is on the front of the bottle, which I think is just precious. It does have a very ultra fine mist. It's not really fine droplets though. The droplets are a little bit bigger than some of the other misters, so you do get, some of the misters are so ultra fine that you don't even really you don't know if it's actually hitting your skin because the droplets are so fine. This isn't like that. You definitely feel it on your face. The water droplets are just a little bit larger, so that's going to be a matter of preference. It does have a very vanilla scent to it, so there is a little bit of a touch of fragrance. And one thing I can say about this setting spray is that it does help your makeup to stay put. It reminds me of that kind of old school using hairspray on your face to really have your makeup stay. You get that really tightening feeling on the skin when it dries down, and it is good for your makeup not budging. I will say that. It also has some aloe and ginger extracts in here, so there are some anti-aging properties in here as well. However, I'm sure you guys can tell by the way I'm approaching this product that there is a downside, and that is that the alcohol and alcohol denat is the second ingredients in this setting spray, which is unfortunate because that is definitely gonna probably dry out the skin for people that have normal to dry skin. This is going to be more drying, I think, than anything else, which is why I felt that kind of tightening on the skin after I've sprayed my face with this. And, you know, for those people that have sensitive skin, it can also act as an irritant as well. Alcohol is just not a great thing to have up against the skin. Keep that in mind. You are spraying this over, you know, a couple of layers of makeup, so it's not like it's going to be directly laying on the skin, even though they do say that you can use this as a prep step. I would not recommend that you spray this directly on your face, even though they say that you can use it to prep the skin first and then go in with your products. I personally wouldn't recommend that, but, you know, if you wanted to use this to, you know, set your makeup afterwards, your makeup does form a sort of barrier between your skin and the rest of the world, so I don't think it would be that harmful. I think the thing that really bothers me about this is I get the reason why alcohol is literally the second ingredient. You guys, it's not even like at the bottom of the list. It's the second ingredient. And that's because, you know, it gives you that really quick dry down time, and it makes it just dry down quick. It sets quick, and it just locks everything in place. I get it. That's why, you know, back in the day, we really liked using hairspray to set our face, but, you know, it's just not good. It's just not good. So, unfortunately, this one is not going to be something that I can recommend to you guys in good conscience, but the packaging is precious. It smells divine, and I wish that I really liked it. It does retail for $18. You can get it online at the Beauty Bakerie, or you can get it online at Ulta Cosmetics. All right, you guys, this one was a hard one for me to do because I have an absolute passion and love and heart for the Beauty Bakerie. I love Cashmere Nicole and everything that she stands for, from a women in beauty perspective to everything that she has brought to the beauty community. I think she is definitely one of my personal idols. I absolutely adore her. I follow her journey. I think she is an amazing woman, and it is agonizing for me to review products that I don't feel like are necessarily my favorite products when it comes to the Beauty Bakerie. But as always, you guys are my first concern, and we keep it real here on this channel. So it is what it is. I, you know, am 1 for 3 out of this launch. I do love this concealer. I'm not a fan of the foundation, and just not a huge fan of the setting spray. So unfortunately, those two for me personally are going to be a pass. But if you guys are looking for a nice full beat concealer that absolutely just blanks everything out, definitely give this one a shot. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Have you had an opportunity to try any of these products? Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm really super curious to hear what you guys think about these products as well. If you've had a chance to try them, did they work for you? Let us know down below. If you guys have any questions for me, you know where you can find me, over on Instagram at Erica Approved. If you've never come over there and followed me on Instagram, I don't know why. You should come over and definitely become a member of the Approved crew and follow me over on Instagram at Erica Approved. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you came by. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up because it does help me out a lot. The live stream the other night was so much fun, you guys. I had a blast. To everybody that joined the live stream, thank you guys so much. I love you guys the most. And as always, I hope you guys are all very happy and very healthy. And I will see you guys in the next video. Mwah.